Hey everyone, it's Grow with Joe here. Back again. I need to restart my Facebook Live. I accidentally shared something that I wasn't supposed to, so it's supposed for my website. So let me start all over again. Good thing is we can start over. But I've been gone for the last 2 weeks because I got tonsillitis and couldn't really talk. I was on bed rest and everything, so it feels good to be finally getting healthy again. So you got to make sure you take care of yourself. And so what I want to start doing is just doing some like topics that helps you make better decisions with your finances. And one of the things that's really I'm passionate about is making sure that you know your options, know the deal before you accept the deal. And this is really important because as a financial planner, I've seen people come in front of me that have $150,000 in student loan debt, and there's nothing I could do for them because they don't make enough money. And so if you don't like student, you got to understand with student loan debt, it doesn't go away in bankruptcy. So you have to continue paying it for the rest of your life. There's certain provisions and everything that like there's loan forgiveness or like you make a, but the idea is like it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there, right? So you're going to always pay for it. And what this video is about is to help you make a better decision um, with your finances, so you don't make $100,000 mistake, a $50,000 mistake. And so this conversation is like, hey, I just graduated. I'm thinking about taking more student loans to go back to graduate school, or I'm in high school and I want to go to school and take on student loans. So like the idea is like you got to know the deal before you accept the deal. Yes, an education is fine, but there's many different paths to get an education. And I'm a big believer that a formal education will get you a nice standard of living, but a self-education will make you a fortune. So the more books you read, the more podcasts you listen to, more YouTube videos you watch, more people you interact with, that can give you more opportunities to succeed much farther than just getting a formal education at a 4-year degree. It can help, it helps, but if you don't have nothing else, but there's many different paths that you have to take. You don't have to take the most expensive path. Sometimes the cheapest path is the best path. So this is just to give you an idea of what your options are. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen and just go over what I would do as a financial analysis for our client to say, oh, this makes the most sense for you. These are your options. Choose the best option that works best for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by just going over what a financial calculator is. So this is what I would use to figure out what the payments would be. And so a good rule of thumb when you go to school is don't have your student loans exceed half of what your salary is going to be. So if your monthly salary, if your annual salary is going to be $60,000, then don't make sure that your student loans don't exceed $30,000. So when you're a high school student in college, this is something to think about because your student loan amount is going to determine what your payment is. And so if you have $30,000 in student loan debt, typically the standard is you pay it off in 10 years. You can stretch it out to 20 years if you want. So we're going to put $30,000 right here. And if we have 120 months is 10 years, and we're going to use an interest rate of 6%. So I've seen as low as 4%, as high as 8%. But typically they're roughly around 6% interest rates are. So we put 6% right here in the calculator. Future value is going to be 0 because at the end of 10 years is going to be 0. So then we just click right here on the payment button. It's going to tell us that our monthly payment is going to be $333 a month. That's what it was going to take monthly payments to pay off your $30,000 in student loan debt. And if that's too much, then what we would do is change this number to 240. So instead of 10 years, it's going to be 20 years, and your monthly payment is going to be 214. So that might give you some more wiggle room in terms of paying back your student loan debt. So we're going to use those two numbers, 214 and 333, to help give you an idea of what your budget is going to look like in the future. So then if we go to this budget sheet right here, this is something that I created, and this is what I use with my clients, is to say, hey, this is what your budget is going to look like moving forward. And like, this is your loan payments off right here. So what we're just going to start off is in this box right here, this highlight box, just to show you like what your income is going to be. So if I was sitting in front of a parent and they had a 17 or 18-year-old, I would go over with them, because I want them to understand what is their future going to look like by the decisions that they make. I want them to know the deal before they accept the deal. So I'm just going to say, hey kid, you're going to make, let's say, $4,000 a month from your salary, from your bachelor's degree. So if your bachelor's degree is going to give you a salary of $4,000 a month, that's $4,000 a month, $48,000 a year, $4,000 a month. You would pay state taxes on that. I'm just going to use 5%. So 5% of $4,000 is $200. Federal tax, that's probably going to be roughly about 14, 15%, maybe even 12%. It really depends on what your deductions are. But just for planning purposes, this is not supposed to give us an exact number. It's supposed to give us a ballpark figure about like what are our options, what is life going to be from a financial standpoint. And so 14%, $4,000 is about $560. Then you're also going to have to pay Medicare on top of that. So that's about 1.45% that you would pay. So we'll take $4,000 times it by 0.0145. So your monthly Medicare payment is roughly going to be $58 a month. Health insurance, if you're on your parents' plan, that might be $0. If you have to pay for your own health insurance, it could really be like $120 to $240. So I'm just going to go on the high end. If you're from your employer and say it's $240 a month, this really depends on your employer though. Dental, that's about $24 a month. 401k contributions, I say you should put something. Let's just do the 2%, the 5%, just starting out. Let's say you're 22-year-old, you're going to do 5% because there's a 5% match. So the idea is whatever there's a match, that's what you should do. The more that you could do, the better off. But let's just look at the numbers and just see what we really are working with. And so a rent, this really depends on where you're going to live. If you live in the Midwest, if you live in a city, let's just say you live somewhere in the city, near a city, and you're paying about like $750 per month. You have a couple roommates, and that's why it's $750 per month. I would also recommend that you start saving on a monthly basis. Try to do another 5%, so $250. Groceries, that could be like $250 to $400. It could be less. I'm just going to go $250 because that's what from what I've seen in DC, that what people could pay. Cell phone, I would recommend you shop around. I'm just going to go $75 because I've seen $50 to $150. Yeah, it all depends. So these are just rough numbers. Don't expect them to be absolutely. They all depend on what your lifestyle is and what you think is important. Cable, I'm a cord cutter myself, so that would probably just be Netflix. So I'll just pay like $15 right there. Utilities, that should be $25 to $55. So I'm going to go on the higher end. Internet, I would say $50 typically. Entertainment, $200. Clothes, $50 a month. Might not be every single month. Car insurance, That might be 90 bucks a month if you have a car. Miscellaneous things, let's just say it's 250. This is all depend on credit cards. So let's just say your first credit card, you have a balance of 150 bucks, and then the other one, you pay, let's just say it's $2,000, and then like 2,500. So you're paying like 175 because you had some expenses in college that you weren't expecting for, or you decided like, hey, I want to go on this vacation, and now you just have to pay it back. So let's drop those numbers to 150, 175. Car loan, let's just change this to student loan. Car loan, we'll get rid of this number right here. Let's just say you got a car loan for $12,000 and your monthly car payment is $250 per month. This has to be B6. Oops. B6. And then this is going to be C6. Oops. And then move that. I'll change this to student loan. And so the payment, let's just say we're doing the 10-year payment, so that'd be about $300. And then get rid of that. You don't have, let's say you don't have a mortgage. So get rid of that. So you have a credit card, a car payment, your car payment, let's say it's $250. Student loans, be $333. So as you can see, we're in the hole. I was just doing this off the fly. So maybe we cut down savings to $100 a month. And then we cut the contributions to $100 a month. Maybe find someplace cheaper to live, $500 a month. And then we have $170 left over. That's if we do 233. So like, as you can see, this student loan payment of $333 can make a big difference. It could be the difference between saving and not saving and not investing for your future. So the idea is like, oh, okay, maybe 214, bump that out, and then bump this down to 214 to see what your future is going to live. You have about 289, but then you also have to find some place that's cheaper to live, and you're not saving as much. But yeah, the idea is like, hey, when you're taking on these student loans, you have to understand what is the deal before you accept the deal. And yeah, I don't want you to take $150,000 in student loan debt. Like if you take on $150,000 in student loan debt, let's look at what that means. $150,000 in student loan debt. You still have to pay the 6% interest. And if you have to pay that in 120 months, your monthly payment is going to be $1,666. That is not very and especially if you get a job that pays $50,000 a year, you don't even make enough to handle that payment. So I really think it's kind of if we're going to give these students $100,000 in student loan debt to go get an education with no guaranteed of income. We're really doing people a disservice. But like the idea is like, know the deal before you accept the deal. And this is like what I do as a financial planner. I could tell you like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. You should, and I'll run the numbers like, hey, this is what it looks like. And this is how, if we adjust your budget, look at your cash flow, look at where you want to retire and everything. Maybe you don't retire at 62, maybe retire at 67, but you can still do what the things that you want to do. This is what we do as financial planning and comprehensive financial planning. We look at your entire financial picture and to see, okay, this is what makes sense financially. Oh, this is where I can live. This is what I can do. This is what I can work with. And like if you want more as an individual, then you have to be more as a person. You gotta have to figure out, okay, if I want to make more than $4,000, how do I make more than $4,000? How do I make $8,000? Okay, I need to have this skill. I need to have this wisdom. I need to have this experience to do so. And there's lots of ways to make $8,000. You just have to figure out, okay, what is the best path to take? And that's something that I can help people as well. I'm very business focused. I like to look at numbers like, hey, okay, if you want to have this type of job, this is this type of salary, this is the type of job that you want to have. Okay, now that we figure out the type of job that we not want to have, okay, now let's work backwards to see how we can get there. Okay, who do I need to network with? What skills do I need to develop? What portfolio do I need to build up to show that I'm worthy of these skills? And then we just start working towards it. Yeah, but the idea is like, hey, run the numbers first to see like what is possible, and then back up into that number. Yeah, I don't want you to get $100,000 in student loan debt and your payment is $700 a month and you're making $4,000 a month. That's not going to be a good scenario to be in. Yeah, it's going to cause a lot of struggle, a lot of everything, but you have to realize like there's many different options. There's many different alternatives in the world. You don't have to go to a private school where tuition is $30,000. Like I joined the Marines at 18 because I saw that tuition was $30,000. And I was like, nope, I'm going to go in the Marines, serve 7 years, get my GI Bill, I'll pay for all my education. I have no student loan debt right now. Plus I got a salary while I was going there. So I like to think and plan out like life is not, I don't play life like, hey, things will just work out. Like the best way to predict the future is to create. And by planning this out and understanding what your numbers are, this is the best way to predict the future and help you figure out and formulate a plan to do so. So yeah, if you want to like schedule a consultation with me, I'll put a link to my Calendly so you can schedule that 15-minute consultation so we can talk about what your options are and then see if getting a financial plan is suitable for you. Because like, hey, I've done this for the last 4 years. I know what I'm doing, and I can apply this to the other areas of your financial life as well, just to make sure that you're making a good financial decision. So if you're like, hey, I had this house, I'm thinking about selling it, what are my best options for me? I'd be like, hey, you could buy another property, you could take that money and apply it towards an investment account. You could like take the money and spend it. Hey, the options are yours, but understand what your options are before you make an ultimate decision, so you don't make a decision that you're going to regret down the road. So by doing this and doing a plan, we can prevent a lot of problems. 1 minute planning can save you 10 minutes of execution time. And I did this for a client that wanted to go to become a police officer. He's a senior in high school, wanted to become a police officer in his town, and he wanted to get a degree in criminal justice. And he was thinking about going to a private school that could cost $50,000 a year. And I actually ran the numbers. I'm like, hey, if you're a police officer, this is what your salary is going to be. This is what your rent is going to be. This is what everything is going to be. This is what your student loan payment is going to be if you can't afford it and you take on student loans. So you can either go to the private school or you could go to this community college and run the same number. And like the decision yours. Like, I'm going to tell you what the numbers are. I'm going to tell you what makes the most sense financially. And I know like everyone wants to go to college, and this thing we hold on the pedestal, like, oh, we have to go to college and get that experience. But like, hey, I didn't go down the traditional path of going to college. I went in the Marines. You could do a lot of other stuff. Besides going to college, you get a good life experience and like meet other people and do all these things. So there's alternatives out there. Like, one of the things that I try to tell myself, what are truths that people think are lies and what are lies that people think are truths? And to figure that out, you have to know what your options are in life. And so run the numbers. And if you have questions or need help running those numbers, contact me. I'll put the link to my Calendly so that you can schedule a meeting with me and see how we can work together. So yeah, if you have any questions, just leave me a comment, and I hope this was helpful. And I just hope people look at this and realize like, oh, these are things I need to think about when I plan to take out loans for college. So hope this wasn't, you enjoyed this. And remember, if you go with Joe, you can grow with Joe, because Joe knows dough. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me, and enjoy the rest of your day, and have a good one.